right? The stories around their life to be able to get the best possible. Now look at it. Look at the word generational. I told you I will not, spare that word. Look at the word generational. I'm seeing two words there. I'm seeing gene and I'm seeing rational. And guess what I'm saying? Without generational stories, we cannot have rational genes. This is it. It's the most portable inheritance, right? Generational stories are the most portable inheritance that we receive from our parents. Now, why do we receive inheritance? Why are we given inheritance? We are given inheritance to serve as as signals, to serve as a part of the past in the present, to remind us of certain order, to remind us of certain values. All right, and the scripture says that a good man leaves inheritance for his children. Now, what is that telling us? It means that the way you are going to show that you are truly good is by having inheritance for the ones that are coming. Look at it. If we do not have generational stories, we are unable to have the bridge between the past, the present, and the future cannot be rational. Is for today. But what we have been doing now is, we have been trying to create a bridge between the past and the present and connecting it to the future. And this is very, very interesting. So interesting. I won't, play with words, all right? I always take them seriously. And I've become very serious, recently, helping people through emotional intelligence, all right, to be able to assess even stories in their life, the stories that their emotions are telling them. And we are able to also, through that, able to assess the stories in their lives, right? The stories around their life to be able to get the best possible. Now look at it. Look at the word generational. I told you I will not, spare that word. Look at the word generational. I'm seeing two words there. I'm seeing gene and I'm seeing rational. And guess what I'm saying? Without generational stories, we cannot have rational genes. This is it. It's the most portable inheritance, right? Generational stories are the most portable inheritance that we receive from our parents. Now, why do we receive inheritance? Why are we given inheritance? We are given inheritance to serve as as signals, to serve as a part of the past in the present, to remind us of certain order, to remind us of certain values. All right, and the scripture says that a good man leaves inheritance for his children. Now, what is that telling us? It means that the way you are going to show that you are truly good is by having inheritance for the ones that are coming. Look at it. If we do not have generational stories, we are unable to have the bridge between the past, the present, and the future cannot be rational. And that is where we are today. A lot of beautiful things that we have lost out from, they are all because we have lost out of the rational gene because of the misplacement of the generational stories. Parents, right? Look at the word parents. It's paying of rent. The children owns the world. The parents only pay the rent for them to be there. It's been paid for you, you have to pay it for other people too. So how do we get this done? It is done through tellings of generational stories. You can't, just go all the way like that. You see, when you give your kids, your children, you buy them stuff, before the next 5 years, 5 years is now even too much. They will lose that thing to innovation. All right. Just look at what has happened to us since 2020, since the COVID. The world has reinvented itself so many times. But what has kept us together? Our stories. There is no technological innovation that has happened now that has taken us away. Why we are converging on this platform and we are getting stronger day by day is because of the stories we share. We get to strengthen our identity. We get to empower ourselves and create that right atmosphere for effectiveness by the stories we share. Any story, I usually will tell it and say it anywhere, that anything that makes you to be dissociated from your origin will never give you your originality. You will not be original when you are dissociated from your origin. So generational stories, all right, they are, somebody said, a people without knowledge of the past, their origin and their culture, he said they are like trees that don't have roots. I think that is unbelievable. It should not be a tree in the first place. So anything that is making us to feel like we do not have history wants to kill us. It's like uprooting a tree and putting it on the ground. It's now a stick. So the best thing that can happen to it is to be a firewood someday, if at all it will still be useful. So it's now very important that we have to connect to our generational stories, because this is the most portable inheritance that we can give. This is the inheritance that serves as preservative to any other thing you have in substance or stuff to be handed over. Remember, without the generational stories, we cannot have rational genes. We are not going to be having children who will have sense when you have dissociated them from the history or the story of how they came about. In Africa, in my language, they say, Rántí ọmọ ẹni tí ìwọ ń ṣe. Don't forget the son of whom you are. When you are stepping out of the door like this, you are going anywhere and you are not coming back that day. It's a feeling that, okay, you are going to represent the family. It's a feeling that you are going to tell the world where you are coming from. So they quickly will tell you that, hey, young man, young lady, don't go outside there and rubbish this name that we have built. Right? So immediately we begin to have stories that do not have this kind of connection. We cannot be rational. And you will be able to see and tell clearly in the spaces where we have not had these kinds of stories, we have lost the rational gene. We have not been able to think, hey, come on, what do you mean? How will you say a skin color is better than another skin color? It's irrationality, all right? Because somebody has lost touch with generational stories, capable enough of giving us that painting, that picture of, hey, you can do it. If some people could do it even when we were not this capable, come on, why will you be this capable and you say you cannot do it? That's the power, all right? That's the strength that comes. That's the enablement that comes with it. We are 100 times, many million times better than people that lived when there was no electricity. But you see people today, when you don't have that kind of story, you want to be, pitied. You want people to say, hey, come on, sorry, we know. But when you have that kind of story by yourself, you rise up. So when they are disallowing you from having a taste of such stories, you are only being, disenfranchised from being able to do the things you are supposed to do. So please, listen. Anything fighting hard to dissociate you from your origin does not want you to be original. And look at the word generational. I see two words there as I close. One, gene. The second one, rational. And what does that tell me? It tells me that without the generational stories, listen, we cannot have rational genes. The future is a mirage if we do not have stories that will bring us from the past to the present. Thank you. Let me use my mic for now.
Thank you so much for that, Olatuji. That is so powerful. Someone might be asking, what does story have to do with building the future, where it have everything to do with it? I say often that we look at technology today, we look